Okay. So as I was saying, it's not a fault of yours. I just now that I'm up here, I'm up top. I really want to uh, be as informed as I can. What is that?
Sorry, tea.
No, you're fine. I was just like, hello. Um, what were some of the changes we were working on? What were we bringing to tens? I'm just curious. Like, what was the if you were to wrap it up in one sentence, what would that be?
It was to look at update the SOP and split it into splitting it into two with the complete documents for Tinsley to look at and decide whether that's something she wanted to take forward or not.
So just getting everything together
Yes.
and then shooting it her way.
Yes.
Okay. Are they ready?
They are both ready.
Could we shoot that to tens? And if I would like to see it myself as well, if I can wiggle into that.
Where would you like me to put it?
Um, we're all in war room. Why not war room?
Okay.
I'm curious. I see you guys down here like little workhorses doing your thing. And we keep different hours, obviously.
Yeah, I was getting up. I just happened to be around early enough for them to both arrive.
Lovely. Okay, I see your SOPs. Are there like highlighted changes or are these just the SOPs?
These are the SOPs that are being suggested to change. Most of them have been updated. I'll see if I can find the previous SOPs. This was what Minnie was working on.
Okay.
I think the main thing that was being moved was let me have a look. The rules and policies look a little bit smaller because I think I changed the margins on the actual form to include more onto the first page.
How does this compare with what we're currently working with?
So this is the current one that's currently going.
And this is everything.
This is everything in one document. What we send out to people who are potentially.
Holy fuck stick, that's 30 pages.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Oh, damn. Okay, all right. So this 30-page SOP, rules, policies, procedures, that's what we're currently working with. The new proposed consists of the 6-pager and then a separate 16-pager?
Yes, which is the training guide with all the training personnel, the setup of radio, certification, in-game mechanics, and ice contacts as well, dot handoffs.
All right. Tin's still with us?
Yep. Just looking them over.
Yeah. I'll give it an earnest look myself.
Both are them available to comment, so you can comment on both of them.
So the 6 pager is just your
What?
kind of overview.
Yep. And what you would send out with the interview. However, there is also a link to the training guide if they wanted to explore that further.
And the training guide is the 16 pager that kind of goes more in depth with treatment and how to RP.
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting a gist. I'm just giving Tens time to really look it over.
Okay.
She's the one you're submitting it to. I'm just kind of the observer and the one that talks a lot.
Um, my concern, and I just want to compare it to the old one in regards to the treatment section,
Mm-hmm.
um, is that it might be too sparse and leave too much room for um, deviation and laziness. That's what's happened in the past.
We can
Um,
provide a separate document with a link that they can click on and go into more depth.
I think too many documents is overwhelming. We already have a basket load of documents that we have to link to. The death message, that I think needs to change.
Okay.
Um,
What example would you like to put in there?
Good question. Oh, where is it? Saying that you're contacting you and inform you that so and so has passed away on today's date. Their body is currently being moved to Central Hospital. I don't think that should ever be in a text. Um, I think that it should just be, please contact, um, you know, us at this time in regards to so and so. And then that has to be delivered, I think, in person and not on the phone or in a text. Because I don't think I would really appreciate getting a text saying that, my boyfriend's dead. Um,
What's the alternative offered if we can't meet them in person?
well, I mean, to send them a message telling to contact, you know, LSMS as soon as possible in regards to whatever their name is. Um, I Anybody can look up to see the record, right, to see if they're dead or not or what have you. And they come in and they say, "I got a message." I mean, what do you think? I mean, how do your doctors handle that?
Doctors will just attempt to call and then shoot the text and just say, hey, you're on their emergency contacts. I need you to know that they recently passed away
Okay, well,
or
yeah,
they
okay, then
recently
word
died.
it that way. Yeah, that's much better than,
Since they're ICEs, we will provide a somewhat, I don't want to use the term vague or false, but obviously, if it's a suspicious death, we're not going to be like, they were shot 13 times in the head and blah blah blah. We'll
right.
just say they were shot and died as a complication or something along the lines of that.
Well,
Um,
yeah, you wouldn't put that in like a message to them. You would ask them to come down and relay that kind of information. That it was, a suspicious death or whatever. But
essentially, they have died. Provide date, time if they answer immediately. Obviously, like, hey, we're at the morgue with them right now. If they don't answer, then well, they're gonna
should
miss
they
them.
use like passed away versus dead?
No,
Or
in a death notification, you should always use the word died.
really? Okay.
Anything that can be taken out of context or taken figuratively instead of literally has been proven
True.
not effective. You need to use that word, dead, died.
But you would send that in a text?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a weird city.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
We found a lot more backlash trying to scramble to deliver it in other methods than we have with the simple, just straightforward. Uh, Jimmy Donovan has died of complications of gunshot injuries It's February 27th, 2021, 10:14 p.m. At this time, we're moving them down in the morgue.
Fair enough. But from what I see, I mean, it's streamlined. It's more efficient.
Let me just have a look at the adaptation of adding all this in detail would be on the actual document.
My thoughts on multiple documents versus pages. It's kind of the same argument. We can have one doc of like 30 pages, or we can have one doc of 6 and one of 16. Either way, it's going to be overwhelming in one way or another.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about that, but she was saying to make a more extensive treatment document, in addition, so it'd be a third document.
That they
Okay.
could research if they wanted to and go into more detail.
I think you could get away with that being field taught, if I may be honest.
Okay, so maybe adding that into the training SOP that was being worked on with Glenn.
Even potentially just you're being trained, we're going to give you the foundation, the building blocks. If you want to get more in depth, if you want to do that, pick someone's brain, get a senior staff, get someone you know is really good at doing the RP, and roll with them for a bit, make it RP friendly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I know some people are like, I mean, there's days where, I'm literally just like, it's the basics. It's like, anything broken? Nope. Okay. I mean, and it's just sort of like you read the room. And I know some people struggle with having to remember exactly medicines and amounts and that sort of stuff, and they shouldn't have to.
The thing I'm drilling into new PHS trainees is everyone's going, oh, vancomycin. Yeah, okay, antibiotic. How do I even spell that? Don't worry about it. I don't care if you list your drugs and medications in your report. Go ahead, say patient was sedated, pain was managed,
Yeah,
antibiotics
exactly.
given. I don't give a shit if you gave them 3 milligrams of morphine, sedated them with propofol, and piggybacked a bag of vancomycin off their saline.
Yeah, no,
Just
some doctors do that though.
I know, and
Yeah.
and it's not worth the effort. And if anything, it's just going to cause more confusion. You have to give that report to a officer, and suddenly you're answering fucking medication questions.
I do want to point out within the actual treatment thing, there is a slight adaptation so that you take it or leave it, covering with burn dressing instead of gauze.
Oh, is this the result of
This is what
what's her
Addie.
head?
I listened to what Addie said. What she was saying wasn't great, so the adaptation was there. Just to change from gauze to burn dressings and IV antibiotics to be moved out because she wanted to get rid of the flushing of the burns, the IV, and just having it with just
She was getting a little too immaculate with
yeah.
it. She was sending me this stuff for approval before it got to you, and I just stopped answering after a while because I'm like, listen, I'm almost content if they just do what I did in the field. Uh, Sterile solution, just irrigate it, and it's nothing crazy. It's no serious thing. We literally take one of the bigger bottles of sterile solution, and we just pour it over the site with a towel underneath, and then we'd wrap it in a dry sterile dressing, and
Yeah.
we'd leave it be. That's it. That's all we did. We had burn mats and burn pads and what have you, but it just resulted in the ire of the doctor that was receiving the patient in the end, and it didn't improve outcome any,
Okay.
as opposed to just irrigating. And like I said, we're talking real life shit right now. That's not really a big
Yeah,
deal.
I mean, at that, it's just sort of, it's apples and oranges.
Damn right. We're going to have EMS across the country that are going to take the statement I just did and go, fuck you, you're fucking stupid. Use the burn pads. That's what they're made for. Why would you have them and not use them? And it's going to be just, EMS conventions are stupid. I would never go to one again. But you just find something simplistic. That's all I care about.
You could put either or. So,
Or dry sterile gauze.
yeah, because neither one is wrong, and neither one's 100% wrong, and neither one's 100% right.
Right. I just the overall goal, if I were to condense all of LSMS into one singular goal, it is to be able to take anyone with the willingness and the passion to do this and be able to make them sound like they know how to do it and make them feel confident that they can act as if they can do it. So the minute we get crazy into semantics or crazy into, well, I don't think we should do that and we should do this instead, it's really not a big deal. And that's the answer. It's not a huge deal. This is our simplified way to go about this. If you'd like to expand upon it because you know something different, okay.
I've also added onto the treatment list, because they weren't in the SOP, is drowning and overdose.
They weren't in there?
Drowning and overdose was not in there.
Oh.
We've never had an
Yeah,
overdose.
They bitched about drowning. Overdoses are very rarely RP'd.
I know we were talking about adding overdoses because the RP for that is there if people so choose.
Meow.
But
sorry,
they weren't.
Don't apologize for your kitty.
But I've added both the drowning and the overdose into that.
Yeah, I saw the drowning one, and
Overall, as a whole, I like comparing these two documents to the initial one. I like the condensement of information. I feel like we're hitting the I feel like we're hitting the important bits and not veering too far off into any tangents. I think it's getting the meat and potatoes, if you will, into there.
Still struggling over what we can put for DOA. At the moment, and this doesn't sound right. This time I would request that you can contact someone from LSMS as soon as possible.
So at that rate, they're just going to text you back. Hello, person from LSMS. I'm contacting you.
So no, as soon as possible, and then just leave it like that.
We know where I'm at on that one. I'm more than content telling someone that they died.
Yeah.
That is the most efficient way to get that information to them.
And you have to use words like death and dead with people, unfortunately.
Okay, so under the DOA, it just says ensure PD are notified of any DOA, noting which officer is responding. It probably shouldn't need to be said, but because it's been missed a couple times, no matter the reason for the DOA, if it's like a car accident or the gas explosion or whatever, those have gotten missed because they're not like murders, so they don't think PD, should be involved, or they don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it says any DOA, but
I'll bolt that one.
Yeah, so that just to emphasize that. I mean, like, I maybe just put every DOA. I don't know, but that's just semantics. I mean,
Is there anything else on the training guide that needs to be updated?
Where is MDT stuff? Is it in the other one?
The MDT stuff with ice contacts. Pillbox doctor should be in doctor's hands off.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah.
Oops, that's not what I meant to do.
Sorry, to step
Hold
away
on.
for some lotion. Hands
I
about
need
to
some.
crack off.
I need to
Blake, are you
edit that.
present?
So that's worded by
but-
that first sentence. If the person wishes for you to, for you to be added. Okay, never mind. I read it wrong.
Copy. Sorry about the computer troubles, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a week. But yeah, I'm here. There's just a lot of background noise. I figured you guys didn't really want to hear, so
I get you. Appreciate it. In
I was just
good
seeing if it said that there's MDT entries in general that their EMS are not to do, which is
in good PHS news, Farrell and Sky just released the updated PHS SOPs.
nice.
I got to format those because Farrell's looked like a high school project, maybe a middle school project. The way he formatted it, the info is there. It just looks silly. And thus, since I made it look good, I get to take partial credit. As one does. I feel like I haven't seen a picture of this cat, by the way, which is kind of lame.
You've never seen my kitties?
Don't think so.
Oh,
You have multiple.
I have two. Hold on.
If
have
I
a picture here
disappear
somewhere.
from time to time, it's because I'm suffering from wonderful stomach pain.
Yuck.
Yes. Like now. I'll be right back.
They're chunks.
Yeah, well, no, they're really pretty thin, but they're about 10 months old, almost 11 months old. The black
They
one is the
look like
mouthy one.
chunks.
Yeah, it's just because we're sleeping. The white one's super fluffy, and the black one's just laying there all splayed out.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
But the black one's the talkative one.
Noted. He looks like it.
Has a lot to say. It's Remington and Lexington.
Hmm.
You might actually get the joke.
Not tonight, I don't.
Okay. So I named the black one first, and I named it Lexington because he was in a tuxedo, and that seemed like, you know, when I was like, and I used to like the cartoon Gargoyles when I was younger,
Hmm.
and that's one of the gargoyles. And then one of my friends told me that there was a black porn star named Lexington Steele. So I was like, I
Yes.
can't name my black cat Lexington Steele now, Lexington, right?
How
Because it's
do
gonna
I
have that
remember
connotation.
that?
And then I remembered that there used to be a TV show called Remington Steele. So it's Remington and Lexington.
Jesus.
Oh, sorry. I have a sick sense of humor.
Same.
While we're here, I would like to bump Shauna and Glenn to Chiefs.
I trust your judgment. I wouldn't mind hearing Aya and Blake's opinions as well.
Yeah.
Um, just
What?
basically. Oh, hello. Sorry. Yeah, no, I've got no issues. Just be letting them know what their expectations are and what they can work on, just so we're not stepping on each other's toes, would be my only thing.
Absolutely. I think right now that between you, Skylar, and Shauna, the three of you are working really well with applications and all that stuff. And Glenn has sort of got this renewed interest in the training guides and the helicopter certification guides with that I think he's working with you and Chase on.
Yeah, we're pretty much almost finished on that. It just needs to tidy it up and clean it up, and then we're ready to push that out.
While
Um,
Aya's dealing with her things, I will bring up some things. These are not like uh, arguments, but more like counterpoints that I'm more than happy to have explained away. Um, my time with Shauna, she she does the job. She has the passion for it, and then she'll find very random hills to die on.
yeah, she's gotten a lot better with that. It used to be negativity like 100% of the time. And when she was, especially with Paul and Sierra, the three of them were quite toxic in their disposition in regards to people. They had to have a negative thing to focus on, be it a person. It was Tegan for a while. Um, it was Autumn for a while. It moved around, and then it was McKenna, and um, but both Glenn and I like had long talks with Shauna, and her cutting back on her hours and not like feeling that she has to train 24/7, she has to put in 12 hours a day, has improved her attitude. And she's sort of like in the beginning, like when they had the field supervisors, and that was kind of an exercise in failure. um she she really didn't do much, but then her attitude started to shift a little, and she started like taking more responsibility OOC, and like she runs these classrooms, and when she's with EMRs she's really good with them, you know. So I think that that she's shifting quite a bit, and I think she showed us that she does love what she's doing, and I think she'd
Okay.
be a really good asset to give her a little more responsibility.
Okay.
And you know, and Glenn is like the big brother you can talk to when you have a problem,
That
you
is a
know.
left.
Hmm?
That is a left us from that position.
Yeah, he left because he was stressed for a long time, and he realized that he just needed a short break, and it wasn't that he wanted to but he's kind of revitalized, and he's putting in a lot more effort with things. And he checks in with me daily, and updates me on things and what's going on. And
what were the key stressors he experienced in his position as chief last time around?
well, the main thing that really turned him off from staying with EMS was the RP that he was getting from patients. There was a female who had uh, miscarriage RP, and that hit him hard. And then there was back when there was the suicide one, which also was a trigger for Tony, which is why Tony backed off for a while. That those were just like he really couldn't get over the one with the miscarriage. And I think the girl DOA'd while being pregnant, if I remember right. And he literally had to go off duty and was gone for 2 or 3 days, and thought he couldn't come back because it was too much for him at that point. And I think that was the main reason for it. And plus, he had IRL stuff. He was getting laid off again, and things like that. So I think he was sort of in a depression, as well. But then after a few weeks, he wanted to come back, and he's been going strong ever since. And he's stopped pushing himself to work 8, 10, 12 hours every day, which I think is a big thing, and a lot of people don't realize. They're like, I'm fine, I can handle it, but it takes its toll. But I need to move somebody up into an assistant director spot, and all three, Blake, Aya, and Skylar, are all very capable of it. But I don't really want to move both Glenn and Shauna and leave just 2 deputy chiefs. So I want to move Memphis up to a deputy chief. I'd like to talk to Sean again to see where his head is at.
Sean.
Sean Sullivan, X-ray 34.
Yeah.
And then there's some EMTs that I need to be moved up. Like JD Jeremiah. He's so good. I want to bump him up as soon as we can. I was kind of going over a small list with Glenn earlier of people we need to start looking at. Because if you look at our personnel Trello, it's kind of pyramided the right way. Like there's more EMTs than there are paramedics, than there are senior paramedics, than there are deputy chiefs, and so on, which is kind of how it should go. But we really need to get more paramedics and more senior paramedics up in there too.
Okay.
But that's the goal, is to bolster the numbers on all the ranks. And giving credit where credit is due. McKenna came back, and he's been great, no complaints. He's been, I've seen him on scenes, and on the radio, and I've seen him on scenes when I'm not on cricket, and he's improved a lot. I think his head's in the right place now. He's realized that he can't be a wild card.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Just
Back. Sorry, what?
just a thing on McKenna. Just keep an eye on him, because after he promoted, a doctor didn't answer him whether they were going to go into the OR, so he decided he was going to pick them up and move them into the OR.
Were they standing in the lobby?
Yep, in a conversation with other people.
Okay.
So back on Glenn, I don't know if you could hear us at all, Aya.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about potential chiefs. or
Mhm.
deputy chiefs. I forget what it was.
Chiefs for them.
Okay.
For Glenn and Shauna.
Why not the step up to deputy first? Is my first question.
They're both deputies.
Oh, they're both currently deputies.
Yes.
Well, fuck me in the face. Um. Okay. The second one mostly honed in on Glenn. A. Um. What are we going to do to make sure those stressors that he encountered last time aren't things that he encounters again? And B, taking someone who had it, left, and there were people here the entire time. Are
Um,
we concerned at all that those people might get upset over this? Or do you think they'll understand? Do you think they'll get it? Do you think there will be backlash?
um, the only backlash I would think is if we took him over Shauna. Um, Everyone else has sort of been um uh sailing along leisurely. They're like the only ones who have made valiant efforts. Or he has even stepped up outside of command. I mean, outside of like, the war room command is Shauna and Glenn. Um, Tony's done a little bit, but Tony isn't around half as much as she used to be. They used to be, sorry. Um,
My thing would be I would like them to have leadership trainings with Farrell, just because Glenn doesn't do confrontation very well if he needs to discipline, because he's just too nice. That's the issue, is he's very, very nice and he doesn't want to upset anybody. So I'd like him to. And Shauna, when she gets very passionate about something, she tends to lose focus of the surroundings. So I'd like them to go through leadership with Farrell, with that offer with Farrell.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
And then
Why Farrell in particular?
because he offered the leadership at Wipe.
He's gone through extensive leadership training through the military.
Yeah.
So he was going to set up a program for some leadership training for our people.
Okay. Sounds great to me.
And then
Go ahead, sorry.
and then when Farrell makes the thing that they've passed the leadership training or they've shown themselves to be ready for it, and he believes that they're in a good position, then looking at it again. Just because if the offer's there, we might as well use it to fine tune those issues that potentially could occur and give them the best preparation tools without sending them in blind. If that, it's not sending them in blind, but sending them in with the best preparation tools.
Okay.
Agreed. And like the same with the people that I'd like to bring up from senior to deputy. They should get some leadership training as well.
Okay. Sorry, I know that Shun's questioned in the past about promotions, so into chief positions. But I don't know how much Shun is watching War Room at the moment and promotions.
Not as much as he did.
Yeah, I think Shun's kind of interest has waned a bit.
He wants to. I know he wants to see more IC interactions. I wouldn't mind seeing some IC meetings instead of some Discord meetings.
That'd be nice. Difficult though with different time frames. That's
It is.
always the
This
hurdle.
is good here. Even if we can get one or two. And for God's sake, don't do it on the roof. Everybody go out, like go to the damn speakeasy in Mirror Park, sit around a couch, relax, informalize it, but maintain some RP in it. That's just preference based, but like shit.
I know that
It's like doing yourself a favor.
admins have been pushing us to do more IC meetings.
Vis-a-vis Feral, I know he's going through quite a lot right now, and I don't really want to add on to that strain.
Yeah, there's no
The
rush to get them promoted.
That and
I know there's no
actually
rush.
don't mind running
Yeah.
down leadership and stuff.
That's
with
kind of
them.
the angle I was going to take with this. Is this something that we perhaps can take the charge on? And if he's got a document or something, we can try and do it for him and take some of the stressor off him.
I don't know if he's written that up yet. We'd have to check with him.
Okay.
He's been working really hard on the PHS SOPs, so there's a chance.
Yeah, so that's
Not a
probably
lot's been
where his
done.
priorities were. Obviously, yeah. But yeah, and he said it would be it would take some time and what have you. So
So promotions aside, let's get back on track. SOPs. This is the fun question to ask, and this is the one that's going to be polarizing and take care of a lot of things. Could we take these new SOPs if Tins likes them and implement them tonight?
That would be. They can be taken right now and implemented from tonight.
I see it. Does Tin see it? This is the point in time where we look over things and go, "Oh, I want this changed before it goes." Imagine this is a project that you're about to just put out live. Is it the way you see it, or the way you want to see it? Are there any tweaks? This seems to be the big EMS project right now.
I think it's also worth noting that, for all intents and purposes, this is also a living document. So things will change in time, and this will look different in a month's time, in a week's time, whatever.
I'd hope so. Everything's constantly changing. We're looking at currents 10:47 p.m. Eastern, 12:27:21 ideals.
I mean, for example, we just had the 1047 come in, and that needed changing. So this is always going to change.
I'm going to challenge you guys with one more thing.
Hmm.
Plain English.
All the
In sense
time
This is
of
far. This is not a tonight conversation. But I want it in your heads. Plain English.
along the lines of what you've said previously about kindergarten should be able to pick it up and be able to read it.
No. Along the lines of 10 codes.
I
you
think
mean using plain speak?
Exactly. Instead of 1076, you're en route. Instead of 20, I'm 1023, I'm on scene.
See, PD is still using 10 codes.
I don't care about PD. We're not
Okay,
PD.
but we respond to PD, and they care.
I don't care what PD cares about. They don't care what we care about.
Well, then we
We're
need to
basing
vote
a lot of
both.
our stuff off of PD. We can
We-
learn some code, sure.
We
It
have
doesn't mean we need to use them.
We have a set of standards that PD wants us to follow.
we have had a few complaints from PD about quote unquote standards not being met.
That's why they
Elaborate.
have their radios. And we have our radios.
But they would still need to be taught the 10 codes anyway in order to communicate with PD.
Unless you're using.
It's a bit of both, right? If you can, I think the crux of the thing is as long as you can communicate your message effectively through the ABCs, so keep it short, sharp, and simple. Whether you're
really
using
won't matter.
10 codes or plain speak, I don't think it particularly matters that much.
Okay.
It's just when people kind of go on for about 30 seconds when it should just be a 3-second communication, that's when it starts becoming an issue, I
Plain
think.
speak is 2 to 3 words.
Yeah, they accept 10 codes in Planespeak, and I want everybody to know 10 codes and Planespeak because I use both. A lot of people use a mixture of both. It's whatever's effective because I'll say I'm en route to that medical, or I will tell PD that we have a med unit en route. And using that instead. But we should start to put in Planespeak as well as the 10 codes because some people do have problems with numbers and stuff. But I'm not okay with removing 10 codes.
Okay, like I said, this is down the line. This isn't tonight.
Yeah,
This is something I wanted to explore the thought of.
because PD is thinking about moving to Planespeak as well.
I'd love to see the day personally.
I think they've tried it twice and it's been a failure. So they
Which is
still
the
talk.
dumbest thing I have ever personally witnessed.
PD has a tendency to go off the rails.
Oh shit.
Um,
And we're the
and
redheaded stepchildren.
yeah, but we're the ones. And I don't know if any of you guys know of the incident that happened the other night, where because you know how the radio clicks constantly, so we hear clicks from PD side and they hear clicks from our side, but they don't hear voices; they just hear the clicks.
I got the clip or the Twitch clip of Katie.
Yeah, you
Um,
spoke about that with me.
was that Katie that bitched?
Katie bitched multiple 5 to 6 times in the day. She was under the impression that EMS were being sassy and intentionally clicking their mics in their channels. I told her this is not the case. We all hear everybody's mic clicks. It's not intentional.
Okay, because
And
I
then
didn't know which trooper it was that said something.
it was fucking Katie.
But Addie Coy was in tears.
I know because she's the one who brought it to me initially. Very passionate young lady. Almost not in a good way.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's okay
She's
to
very
feel
intense.
strongly about things. Passion's great. When the passion is finding the wrong hills to die on and causing stirs that don't need to be stirred, it's a line. Good upside is I did talk to Katie. She apologized to the folks, or she extended apologies is more accurate to the folks that I could at least identify in her stream clip, and I extended that apology to them. She's been educated. She knows we can't do shit about it. We're not doing it on purpose. We hear theirs, and it's equally annoying.
If not more so.
Oh yeah, because they fucking mark a lot more often than EMS does.
Hell yeah.
So she knows, she's apologized. There shouldn't be issues. I've already told Koi that I've spoken to her, and she apologized, and I think we're okay. So that's okay, unless you were talking about a different.
Nope, that's the
trooper.
incident I was talking about.
Okay. That was some delicate ground to walk around.
Yeah, I know how Katie is.
So anyway, like I said, that's a future conversation. We're talking the SOPs, we're talking all that, we're making sure it looks good to at least, roll out. Doesn't have to be tonight at end of meeting. Fuck me, it's late. Who's gonna see it anyway?
Let me go through it thoroughly over like today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Take some time.
And I just wanna read through every line.
And just remember, simplification is not a bad thing.
No one said it was.
I'm not saying you did. We're going from 30 pages to 22. So simplification did happen, or condensement did happen.
Well, I think the majority of that is just condensing the actual treatments into the format that it is.
Okay.
That looks like most of it probably is.
Well, if we want to take a break from the paperwork for a moment, I wouldn't mind transitioning. This looks okay to me personally. Obviously, we have the game plan for it. We're going to review it further, and then it could potentially go live.
Okay. So
That's great.
feedback tomorrow or on Monday.
Your feedback from me is it looks great, and you guys, it shows that you guys worked really hard on it, and it's great. I'm also not meticulously detail oriented on EMS. It's gonna have to have that distinguished eye on it. Let's depart from SOPs. Let's hit home on some more personal stuff. Are we all ready to transition forward?
Yep.
Okay. I'm seeing points of contention between you guys. There were small little bits and bobs, but the contention was most obvious the other night in a simple DM from Tins in War Room. There was upset. There was a lack of consultation. There's clearly some contention or some friction between you guys, and I'd really like to iron that out and figure things out, because we really have better things to accomplish than that. So I don't know what talking needs to go. I don't know what clarifying needs to occur or what perceptives need to be gained on either sides here, but we need to achieve a common ground here if we're going to move on and be 100%.
I don't know if friction's necessarily the right word to use. I just think there's difficulties in getting us all in the same room at the same time.
Okay.
And it's working through those challenges. Because all four of us, Minnie included, were in very different time zones. I mean, I is EU, I'm AU, Tins and Minnie are NA. So trying to find a time where we can get all four of us in the same room talking about the same things is quite challenging. So what we elected to do is we'll get the chiefs together to work on some stuff. And then once we feel that's ready, we can present that to Tins and make changes along the way. And then once it's ready, we can put it in. Versus trying to get all four of us to then kind of get the concept out and then getting us back to say, okay, is there any changes that need to be made to that concept? And then getting us back again to say, okay, is this all good?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly blunt.
Yep, that's fine.
So that concept is amazing and great, and I don't have an issue with it. My issue is that nobody, not one of you, said, hey, there's, people are complaining about the size of this. We're going to tackle this. We're going to sit down and we're going to do this. Something, one of you could have just mentioned it to me. And instead, I get passive aggressive messages from Mercier. I get nothing from any of you. I get attitude from Skylar because I asked why nobody bothered to tell me. And then, gives me attitude in War Room. What did I do to any of you? It's just, we need to work together. And I feel like you guys are working in spite of me, not with me right now. I'm not going to lie.
So me personally, I'm very sorry that you feel that way. That was, at least from my side, never the intention. It was always, let's get everything ready, and then we can bring it to you in one dump, and then we can work through it as a team. Definitely the fact that you weren't made aware of what our plan was definitely failing on us, and I'm very sorry for that. But I think we're all blatantly aware that this is never going to work unless we work as a team, and if we're working against each other, then it's just doomed to fail. So the fact that you're out of the loop, incredibly sorry for, and definitely going forward, that's a lesson learned. We'll bring you in as early as we possibly can.
I mean, literally just saying, hey, Tins, we're going to take a look and we're making a pass at this SOP to see if we can streamline it.
Yeah.
But had I not walked in on you guys in a meeting, I'd have never known.
I know that you also joined when I was wiping the Trello. When I was redoing the Trello for 5-10 minutes. I don't know if something was wrong with your microphone and you left. I'm also
But
aware.
what does that have to do with?
There was just, it would have been, for me personally, it would have been nice to have conversation at that point at the wipe so we were ready. I also know that in the past you have promised to do meetings which haven't seemed to come to fruition.
Okay, thought they had.
For example, when we had the field, we were still doing the field training supervisors, you asked whether having more meetings would be beneficial. You were told yes. From there, I do not recall a meeting. I do not recall a meeting. There may have been, so please correct me if you had done meetings with them. But I do not recall those meetings taking place. When proposed to do some IC meetings, I said I was happy to do some of them. You told me that you weren't willing, that they weren't going to happen in a roundabout way. When we were...
Not how for that, but okay.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Said not how I remember that, but okay.
Something about panic policies.
Oh, that was about the Mercier kept putting in those little panic policies whenever something happened. Like the marshals and things like that.
But we were being asked to do more IC meetings.
So it's okay to sit and fester on it and not say anything to me or remind me or whatever.
I simply dropped it. You gave me a response, so I dropped it.
So, what can we do going forward to make sure that this sort of thing never happens again? Is it just as simple as we need to get together more frequently? Because
Vlad has an obvious answer.
yeah,
I can do...
so I think the overall topic, right, is there's been a terrific breakdown in communication on a spectacular level. And I'll be the first one to admit fault in that. What I want to do is, going forward, let's try and find solutions to problems. So the problem is, we've had this breakdown in communication. What's the solution? And as Craig says, I think, the most obvious one is we need to be meeting more. We need to be discussing more.
And on Fridays and Saturdays, I'm normally awake about this time.
Does that work for you, Tins?
Fridays don't.
Fridays don't. Do Saturdays work?
Not at this time normally.
Okay.
I'm sure there's room for flexibility. The irony in this meeting is we shot the lateness of the hour off of Skylar's um, recommendation.
Yeah.
And then Skylar proceeded to probably asleep, if I had to guess. That's fine. It does not have to be 10 p.m. If you can do it earlier, that's great.
But I'm not trying to hinder anything in any way. And I have got 10,000 things going on in my life. And, you know, if I say, yeah, we should have a meeting or whatever, and I don't do it, it's because I've forgotten.
Okay.
You know, don't be afraid to mention it to me.
Okay.
Or don't be afraid if you feel like we need a meeting, you know. And, you know, and if you know, send me a DM. I don't care. I'm not gonna be offended. I'm not gonna be hurt, you know, or whatever. Just be like, hey, Tins, we need to have a meeting, you know, blah 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 or whatever. And I'll be like, oh shit, okay, I forgot. Because normal, I'm not like, you know, I'm not like trying to avoid any of that. It's just because I've probably forgotten, you know, and in having in character meetings, like I know Mercier was like, oh, we have to have in character meetings, you know, once a week, blah blah blah. It's
They're
like
the
I don't
most
want to sit in a
beneficial.
meeting with Mercier and everybody talking about, um, you know, well, I did this and what should I do in this situation, and that's what I mean. That's the sort of thing I don't want to sit through. I can't sit through 2 hours of people whinging
That
um about stuff that doesn't matter. That's not what the meeting's about. I mean, there's stuff that we do have to cover, and there's stuff that we should. Um, but it goes off the rails almost every time, and that's the stuff that I don't like. I want it short and sweet. Get to the point. Get through it.
You
so
can do that with this short amount of people. This is 3 others you're talking about.
Yeah, no. I know. But like I
I
said, you
know.
know, be like that's like, you know, and when Mercier is like, oh, we need to have do this, and we need to start doing that. I mean, like literally, she was like implementing these like off the cuff things, and it was just, you know, I know her heart's in the right place, you know, but it didn't seem realistic to me. And if I took it that I was like, I don't want to have a meeting, you know, that's not what it was. It was like, I don't want to have that meeting.
because it's already something we do in MHS weekly. We have 2 weekly meetings a week.
It seems a bit excessive.
They involve training as well, but it's also to tackle getting the EU people and also getting the later NA people. So we are able to communicate with both of them, with both groups. The only person that we are unable to ever get is Blake.
Oopsie.
That guy sucks.
Yeah, he's the worst.
It's to try and get both people listening to them. And for most, that would be excessive, except it also involves training sessions. However,
Two things I'm getting from this, if I may. One thing I'd want to say personally, to tens is perspective wise, this is a video game where we are role playing a completely fake department. Um, there is effort, there's responsibility, there's manpower, there's hours put into it. If you are heading off a major section of this and you are upholding to the responsibility of it, if you set a meeting to a date or you say I plan to do it this time, I don't want it forgotten.
No,
I
I
had to
don't.
set a reminder on my phone for this tonight, and I did nothing but think about it for chunks of the day.
No, I mean, it's just that I just never didn't schedule it. There was one I scheduled that I had to cancel because I was sick or whatever. I had to work. I don't remember.
You're the rallier.
But yeah, I don't mind. I'll start doing them more. but I'm sort of, and I'll tell you, I am of the mind that, unless somebody tells me there's a problem, I don't think there's a problem. Unless I see it or somebody tells me. But I'll start holding more meetings so that we can have these conversations. It's not a problem.
Do you prefer that your chiefs give you bite-sized updates or questions as they go along, or would you rather have a bolus of information that's completed and at least organized for you to review first?
What do you mean? They're both kind of the same, right?
Not quite. So, for example, Blake and Skylar worked on these new SOPs that were condensed, broken into 2 spots. Would you prefer that finished product that you were given tonight to review and make small edits on, or would you prefer it uh, as they went down the document, asking questions and going over everything as they went through it?
Either or. I'm okay
Because
with
it
either.
seems like external opinion, it seemed like this culmination of data and work and all of this that was done and then presented to you for approval and review was pretty organized. Where I didn't like it is, sure, it takes 3 seconds to send a message and just say, hey, we're down here working on this. There was a breakdown there. I didn't even notice they were doing that, or I didn't know that that was happening until Mercier posts a screenshot of them just sitting in a voice chat going, they are doing so much work right now. And then I had the other morning where I just happened to get up and saw they were in there, and I popped down and noticed they were doing a bunch of stuff. You guys are doing great work. Advertise it.
Absolutely.
That's your end of the communications there. You could potentially iron out some things. Open the door. It's not a requirement. Hey, we're down here, we're working on the SOPs, doing whatever. Feel free to pop in. And then the ball's in everyone else's court. That's just closing the communication loop.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the friction I'm feeling here. I don't like the points of contention. And after this brief talk so far, what I'm getting, that was friction. I'm willing to call it that. Um, Points of contention with Mercier. I have great news. Mercier is not in that position anymore. It's me. I try and be proactive as opposed to reactive. A lot of things Mercier did could be construed as very reactive, or in Ten's words, a panic. I'm trying to stay ahead of the 8 ball. I'm trying to get everyone on the same page. PHS is, I can't believe I'm saying this, PHS seems to be doing okay right now, and we suddenly have the exact shift. Now we're like, okay, I need to work on EMS. Whereas previously we were pretty dynamite. Everyone's working really hard right now. I don't want this friction to fuck it up. Am I tracking? Am I making some sense at least?
Mm-hmm.
I have had a glass or two. It's been a trying day.
Mm-hmm.
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And again, since I'm regretfully sorry if there's been any offense caused, if there's been any upset, that was never my intention.
Apologize for not sending that message and opening that communication up.
What would you two like to see from Tens?
Great question.
More meetings that we can have communication with so these issues don't bottle up. People feeling comfortable that something that's beginning to worry me, and although I'm trying to actively change it, is that, and I am actually trying to change it, is that I'm starting to see that EU people either don't know who you are, and I'm actively trying to change it with their opinion and their views that this is the person in charge of EMS. And taking that from an...
That person also can't be around 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
To Craig's point, this is a fake department, and although there's, still real people behind it, we can't devote all our time and attention all the time.
I'm just saying I'm trying to change that opinion in game so that people are aware the director is Tinsley. Now, how much of that is IC and how much of that is OOC, I'm not sure. And I'm sure this is perfectly fine with you, Tinsley, but some allowance for adaptation during EU hours.
What do you mean?
I feel like that needs to be expanded upon.
Yeah, a bit elaborated.
It was brought to our attention that you had given approval for Emil to do shadow nursing, right? To shadow nursing. Now, I want to clarify what you informed him and what I've heard. Did you inform him that 3 EMS needed to be on during the time that he was shadow nursing?
Yeah, I told him because he had responsibility because he is EMS, that if there was at least 3, then he could do that.
We don't get 3 EMS on during EU hours. And he built that up, and he's worried about it, and he's very scared about it.
But that's where you guys come in, to, if it's slow, to tell him it's okay.
I'm just, which, thank you for giving us that responsibility. And we can feed that back to him. But he felt on us, and we tried to correct this, that he felt there was he worked himself up into a panic about it. A panic that then he couldn't go back to you and talk to you. So thank you for telling me that we do have the responsibility to, in order to make those adaptations for the EU hours. And potentially the AUS hours.
AU, it's always been a judgment call of how things are progressing and
Absolutely.
where the demand is.
You're
If the
talking
demand
more
is
of a quality over quantity situation, or
basically
quantity
if
over
there's
quantity situation.
basically that, right? If there's a high demand in calls, then I'm going to definitely ask what resources I have available to focus their attention to that. If there is absolutely no demand, then I'm not going to be putting my foot down as much. I'm happy for people to, do what they need to do to get roleplay in, to have fun. Because it certainly beats standing idle and having parking lot RP, which I'm actively trying to put my foot on, is, get out there, actually roleplay with people, because it's a roleplay server. This is what you signed up for.
I've been doing games with them.
You guys are chiefs. You guys, if if I'm not there, what you say goes.
Okay.
Even if I'm there, what you say goes. I will back you. You guys have full autonomy pretty much to do what you want. And it's a judgment call. And like, like Blake said, if it's, four people standing around doing nothing and, and somebody wants to train, go ahead. If it's two people standing around and there's nothing to do, go ahead and train. But as soon as it gets busy, be willing to be pulled off. I mean, that's not an issue. Those rules are just, guidelines. There's
So,
always exceptions.
so what might be a good proposal is that he remains ready to be on EMS, and then if he needs to go for EMS, EMS is priority, but he can scrub up at any time to become a nurse.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I told him. I don't know why he thinks it's any different. It was like,
Okay.
your primary job is EMS, so if you're needed, you have to go. And
Okay.
ideally, because like I used to see him during prime time, so ideally, he couldn't do it unless there was enough coverage because it's always busy. But if it's, Euro hours and it's the middle of the night and nobody's doing nothing but standing around, twiddling your thumbs, then there's no reason he cannot train.
That's why I wanted to verify with you what had been given, because I realised that he was also in a panic state at that point.
So to review, EU hours when things are kind of sparse, a little lower. We're looking for judgment in call volume as opposed to trucks on the road.
Absolutely.
And we
There's
need
no reason to
to
have 4 trucks on the road and if there's nothing to do and you could be training.
So we need to empower our chiefs who are in those EU hours with the knowledge that they can make those judgment calls in their position. We then need to empower Emil and let him know, hey, we're going on call quantity over truck quantity. We need
think-
you to be responsible and say, if you have 1-2 trucks on, but you're getting a call every 30 minutes, it's going to be okay if he does some nurse things and trains to become a nurse. It's alternatively his responsibility to, when calls start popping off every 3 seconds, hop in the blues and head out and help out, is what I'm getting out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think 100% Tens is on the money that the buck does stop with us, but we also need to make sure our deputies, our seniors are also on the same page as well and telling the same story.
And that is your job.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's ideally how chain of command goes. That's been probably the most annoying fucking thing about becoming director. I'll get DMs from nurses in training about wanting to go on LOA. I've gotten LOA requests from like EMS or like way in advance. It's been nursing, doctors, complaints from EMS, stuff that could have stayed in character that we couldn't catch because they took it out of character. It's like, tell your people. So there's, I think next meeting, chain of command will be a topic hit on. It's hit on like every couple of months, but that's a big one for me. But it goes the same way oppositely. So tens in a span of control or a division of labor should ideally only have to look to her assistant director or chiefs, the assistant director to the chiefs, chiefs to deputy chiefs, senior chiefs. I'm not saying anything new here. We're going to hammer that one home, but that comes with the caveat of we need to empower every rank with the knowledge that this is your show. Like, hear down your show, hear down my show. You can make those judgment calls in your position. You don't need to necessarily look up to the next person and be like, can we do this? You wouldn't be in your position if you couldn't. In this fake department on one of thousands of servers.
So these aren't my comments, they're from Minnie. She wanted to know why you went to Glen for Academy and why we weren't informed or asked in any way. That's her question.
Glenn came to me.
Okay. And you made a decision that non-trainers can pick up starvation, dehydration, and ice pack medicals with dehydration, and also including the IV for the saline drip.
What do you mean no?
You apparently.
Oh, for this new influx of things, is that what you're talking about? Like, let them ride with a non-trainer, new EMRs?
So this is what was informed to Minnie from what I've heard, and then Minnie put it in there. Was the EMR that non-trainers can let EMRs pick up starvation, dehydration,
No,
and
no,
ice.
no, that's not how I said it. Then that was conveyed wrong.
Okay.
So if we have an overflow of EMRs, I said they can ride with non-trainers, and those guys can impair their knowledge on 10 codes, let them drive, give them their insight. If they are signed off on like starvations or whatever, or if the non-trainer thinks that, they can help them and let them get up somebody who's starved, then that's an exception that I'm willing to make, but it's not going to be the standard. And I would prefer that they didn't. But I'm talking this as if we have 5 or 6 EMRs on, and we're having to spread them out a little bit, just to non-trainers can sort of give their insight. It's not standard. It's not going to be policy that they can do anything without a trainer. But like that sort of a thing is easy enough to learn and to not screw up.
Okay, so we're saying starvation, ice packs, driving, radio, not dehydration?
That goes in the same pretty much realm. I mean, unless they can't give an IV.
Yeah, that was the only thing, is that we've got the extreme
no.
dehydration.
No. That's a no. But I mean, it's just, literally as basic as you can get, and as easy as you can get. Even if they just, practice walking up and, introducing themselves and finding out what's wrong, and then letting the person they're riding with actually do the treatment. And that's just to help pick up the slack.
Okay, that's what she wanted to bring to it.
Feral.
Just looking at a few things, Blake, you went through about retention, and we're having burnout rates.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight it's something I'm noticing now. We started TRP next, pretty good, pretty well. EMS was looking pretty top notch. And then all the applications came in waves and droves. And with very limited resources we have with trainers, I just want to, I guess, flag on burnout. And I don't know if there's anything we can actively do to try and help that. What I'm tentatively thinking is to try and take some of the pressure off. We just do group academies. But I'm still thinking on kind of how that would look at the moment. But it's just an idea.
I do during the EU hours at the moment. I am starting to do little games that they can do whilst on duty.
Yeah, be right back. Sorry.
Okay, doke.
Yeah, this was more of a discussion point than this is an actual problem at the moment.
Oh, this is all about discussion.
Yeah.
My key point was I came into this with 2 key points. A, the new SOP stuff and pitching it to tens, and kind of sneaking in and being nosy about it. And then just discussing all of this stuff. Everything that comes afterward it can only really help. At some point, we're gonna have to be like, "Fuck, I want to go to bed," but I've got
I
nothing
mean,
else
it's
slated
4:30 for
tonight.
me.
Fuck sake!
I don't work
I
Saturday
just
and
hope
Sunday.
any of this bridges some gaps. I hope any of this helped.
Yeah, it's helping. Just a quick word after reading the PHS. Much like with EMS, you're going to have to look at adapting during the day, like during the EU hours.
If you're talking about locational staffing,
Because I know there is a heavy presence currently, and you haven't got. You mentioned yourself you had one person at Sandy whilst you were by yourself. Your numbers seem to be a little bit shorter. I don't know what time they are, but they are. So asking.
well, for every it feels like for every 7 or so EMS apps, we'll get a PHS app.
And
PHS is still very much in a staffing struggle.
I know that a lot of the biker clubs are now up north, especially during EU hours. Far north.
It is delicate. Pillbox is the primary location for medical care. And the trick to that is it's also a burnout machine. If we do not staff it properly, or if we have one person in Pillbox where everyone knows they can go, and then we have one person in Sandy, then that Pillbox guy is ultimately still going to get fucked.
Back, sorry.
So maybe an adaptation of having. Maybe talk to Alyssa. She's the one that does the EU hours there. See what her view on it is.
Okay.
See if it's something that is manageable by one person or whether it is something that requires multiple people there.
That seems reasonable, but I just do not want anything like the other night for me was for anyone else. It was fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It was beyond fucking stupid.
But yeah, talk to Alyssa and see what the EU hours are like, because you're gonna get a much clearer image from her.
Okay. Where were we?
Talking about retention and burnout
Yeah,
rates.
just burnout rates with our trainers and influx of applications for EMS, and if there's a good strategy going forward to ensure that we can still keep everyone without burning them out.
I was on the mention that I'm doing games I see to increase communication with SESP, but also as a training exercises as well. Something I was doing before, but I've expanded on it.
Is what I'm starting to see is there would be 3 EMRs and only 1 trainer, and logistically trying to make that work. So I'm thinking the way forward, at least in the short term, is running these group academies, getting them in one place and saying, okay, this is what we're doing. You guys don't have to worry about stuff. We'll figure it out. The only issue from that is if we're effectively taking all of our EMS staff, that's leaving a lot of the call volume to PD, and then they're going to get overwhelmed.
Something that was suggested to me today earlier. Sending EMS to go alongside Academy, SESP Academy.
that will ultimately be up to their command for that decision.
But it was suggested to me from... Was it Kelson who suggested it to me? It might have been someone else.
What did he suggest?
That we can do some of our EMS academies alongside at the same time as SES Peak Academy. We send an EMS unit down there anyway, if available. So there was a suggestion to do that at the same time.
If you guys have all been to academies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They try to crank them out as fast as they can. I'm not sure that they'd be too keen on. But that would have to be discussions with PD to do that. But yeah, so I think we should start just doing. I mean, at the moment, I think like that little academy that we had that one time at Zona, where it was the 5 EMRs and such. I think that's a good way to go over all the non-medical, all the basics that they require to know, kind of stuff, just to give them a strong foothold. I mean, I don't think sign-offs should generally happen unless they're confident in certain things with that. But it's definitely going to push them forward. You know, it could be 2 or 3 training sessions ahead of anybody else who doesn't go through one of those kind of little mini academies. Ideally, I don't know how much this influx is going to be or how often, um, but we need to have we do need to have a structured academy program, I think, in place to use as needed.
Yeah.
I think that would be smart, and I know that Bitter was working on it, and I think you working on it with her.
I'm trying to, but Bitter's also having a lot of personal issues. So I'm trying to give her space to say, hey, there's no pressure to get this done.
Okay.
And just
Who's
being
having
mindful.
personal issues?
Ruby, Bittersweet.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to be sensitive around that.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, like today, I worked for 7 hours today, and we had no EMRs. There was 3 trainers on all day, no EMRs until like 2 hours before I had to leave, or 3 hours before I had to leave. And then we got 2 come on. But yeah, I was gonna do like I figured we'd have a whole bunch of EMRs today, so I was gonna do sort of a little mini academy as well, but there was just none all day. But EMRs are just going to have to be patient. We can't overwhelm all our trainers. We will get them through. Like I know, like Queenie, that's Kitty. She's been EMS and nurse before. She knows the ways. It's just sort of formality getting her through EMR training. She should be an EMT within a couple days. You know, and there's some others that are returning that'll be pretty easy to get through. Ruthless was an EMS. Rachel was too. You know, and others like that will be pretty quick and easy. It's just we're gonna have to make them just do patch ups or swap out, like one run you take one, run you take the other, you know, and back and forth, so that they're sort of getting equal amounts, you know, without putting too much strain, because nobody should be really taking more than 2 at a time. They shouldn't be taking more than 1 at a time, to be honest.
So, sorry, carry on.
No, go ahead.
So Galdor is kind of doing the night EU. Abby,
Yeah,
Natasha, Shin are all AUS. Hector Farley, I don't think has been on. Daniel
Shin used to do EMS. He used to do, I think he actually ran a department.
Jin was like medical director for another server, yeah, so
Yeah,
he knows
so he
quite
knows
a bit.
what he's doing. Yeah, so that's going to be a quick.
Daniel
It's just
will be an asset. You know, he'll be an asset for it. He knows medical RP really well, and he used to be PD. So
Daniel, I have not seen that many training notes for. I might be mistaken on that one. Queenie, I saw yesterday, and she was with Evie. Once she started, was fine. We've got Trent, who hasn't started, but has only just passed classroom. Courtney, I know, is active. Hunter.
Hunter's sort of hit and miss, isn't he?
Hunter is.
Did get something from him semi-recently, see if I can find it.
Daniel Fargo had one 2 days, 2 days ago for me. That's the complicated thing.
Oh, I don't know if I can die.
Duke was 3 days ago. Evie Knox was thing. I've recently been trying to get EMS to stay away from Pillbox and using Central as a place for them to come back and restock. So with the games, sending them out from Central, bring them back to Central, because they can restock, they can get their ambulances from there, they can change there, and it because BB even said that Pillbox is still a lag zone, a huge lag zone at the moment. So I've been trying to get them off that grid in particular. So they have the ability to still stock up and everything, but that's only where I'm basing myself from. Other people can be other way. You are ripping paper up. What? No, that one. I know you talked about McKenna being promoted. You did that in a private DM to Glenn?
Yeah, I wanted him promoted. I was gonna do it anyway. We were talking about different people, and I asked what he thought, and he said he thought he's really doing well too. And so,
And giving him FTO straight away.
gonna see how he does.
Glenn gave him FTO straight away.
Yeah, he said he's gonna give him trainer, see how he does.
Oh, okay. I thought that we were talking about paramedic. Okay. Like I said, I noticed that, and I didn't. I did talk to him afterwards. I didn't record anything because I just wanted him to be aware that we've had problems with that in the past. It can be seen as assault.
As what?
Picking up people and running off with them, even doctors. Can you imagine somebody picking up Craig? We just
I
need.
do not like to be held.
Just wanna kind of make sure that that's why I talked to him and I didn't record anything about it, because I just wanted him to make sure that he was on the same page.
No one should be carrying doctors to ORs. Alternatively, doctors should see EMS and be immediately going to the ORs. Two wrongs in this scenario.
Mm-hmm. So we just, like I said, didn't record anything because I didn't want to make him. I didn't want it as an official thing. I just wanted it as a let's not have this again.
Okay.
But yeah, you knew. I will send you the name of the doctor that it was. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that sigh wasn't a good thing.
Mm-mm.
All right. Is there anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Anything between SOPs, the promotions, the miscommunications, the tension. Does anything else need to be addressed?
Nope.
Don't have anything. No.
Okay. I'm okay with calling this one quits. It's been an hour 45. I like to think we made some progress tonight. I
Mhm.
hope you all agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Can we please move forward with greater communication,
Yep.
with greater commitment, and
Mhm.
just show it the love and commitment and passion that you guys have for it? But share it, have it together, and move forward together.
100%.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Let's go the fuck to bed.
By the way, Craig, which doctor's form are we using? The new one that Blake made or the old one?
Doctor's form.
Pillbox doctors.
I was told one doesn't work and one does.
So this is the old one. Blake, do you have your new one that you put in the war room?
I do. Let me send that to you, Craig. I know it's late for you, buddy.
Which one populates the information that doctors can then update? Do they both
They
achieve
don't.
that?
They both achieve that.
I like the first one better. It allows for it allows for more. My only thing is, I
Which
feel like
one? The
ice
one I
contacts.
sent you, or
The one Blake sent me.
okay?
The only thing I don't like about it is the updating of ice contacts is something that's not urgent and could definitely be done in person instead.
It was something that he made whilst the MDT wasn't working.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing the 2 cents.
That's easy enough to remove.
Truth. I like the one you sent me though outside of that, Blake.
Do you want to
Sweet.
ask Tinsley if you're happy with that one? Don't know if you saw it.
Not up to me.
So go with the
That
one.
being said, though, how would you feel about EMS using this and saying, hey, as a large this effort, I'm overwhelmed. Here's this thing that you can fill out.
Is that the pillbox doctor thing?
The pillbox doctors only. This includes a form for requesting for therapy, and if someone comes to them saying, "Hey, I want to be discharged,"
Yeah, I
because
don't have a
we
problem with, adding that in too.
sweet. So the direction I took with this is we're sort of wanting EMS to steer away from paperwork, and the less we can give them, the better.
Absolutely.
And give
Sweet.
docs more paperwork.
That's what you
It
get paid
does.
for, right? Though, isn't it? Drowning in
Yes.
paperwork.
All right, I'll make that change then. Easy peasy.
Okay.
All right, I don't think there's anything else.
As long as the information that comes from your form is readily accessible and is taken by the docs to fill in the MDT without any kind of confusion or delay, I don't care. I think that's everything.
I think that's everything. Let's all go to bed.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
No.
Bye.